If you use an Azure repo in Azure DevOps, you can now manage changes in your data productivity cloud pipelines by connecting your Azure repo to a Designer project. You can perform standard Git commands from within Designer and collaborate with your team. You can also leverage Azure DevOps advanced collaboration features such as pull requests, reviews, and comparing changes between commits. You can see your full commit history, view file differences, or trigger automation to build, test, and deploy using Azure DevOps. In this video, we'll show you how to connect your Azure DevOps repo to your Data Productivity Cloud project. Before we get started, these are the prerequisites we need to connect to your own Azure repo. You'll need an Azure project and repo set up, and it needs to be set up in your preferred organization and Azure tenant. Make sure that your default branch is called main, and you need to have your roles set up as you can see here, which at the very least needs to be the basic role added to the contributor security group. Lastly, you'll need to create a Designer project and select Azure Repos as your Git provider. If your Matillion Azure app is not installed yet in your Azure tenant, you'll be asked to do so. If it is already installed, then all you have to do is go through the authorization process to allow the app to act on your behalf. This will ensure user permissions you've granted in Azure will be respected in the Data Productivity Cloud, and any Git actions you perform in Designer are properly logged in Azure DevOps. But we'll run through this and everything else now. So here you can see I've got an organization set up in Azure DevOps. I've got a project, and then when I click into the project, you can see I've got a repo set up. This repo is already initialized, and in this repo, I've just got a README file and a YAML file, which is set up as CI with Azure pipelines. Okay, so everything is set up in Azure DevOps. Let's switch over to the Data Productivity Cloud. And we're going to add a new project. Choose a name for your project, and you can also add a description if you like. For now, I'm just going to put a link to the repo in as the description, just so I can reference it later. You don't have to do this. Then I'll choose a data platform. In this example, I'm going to be using Snowflake. Next, select Advanced Settings. These settings allow you to connect to your own Git repository, like Azure DevOps. Click Continue, and here you can select your Git provider. So yes, we will select Azure DevOps. Then you'll need to authorize your account. So we'll click Authorize, then choose the correct account for your Azure DevOps. You'll be asked to authorize some permissions, and click Accept when you're happy with those. Okay, now here we can see the authorization is complete. Let's click Continue, and this will take us to the Select Repository page. And here is the Azure DevOps repo we were looking at before. In the name, you can see the organization name, the project, and the repo name. So this is the right one, so let's click that and continue. Next, let's select the agent deployment. In this instance, it will be full SaaS. Then we need to enter an environment name. In this example, we'll just call it Demo. As we selected Snowflake as our data platform, we'll need to enter our Snowflake credentials, which I'll just do quickly off screen. Then you need to select your preferred defaults for your Snowflake account. Okay, so this all looks good. Let's click Finish. And this will complete the project creation flow. And there we go. We've got a project created, and it is now connected to the Azure repo in Azure DevOps. Okay, so let's make some changes in the project. And we can see that we've only got one branch in the repo, which is called main. Let's click into this, and this will take us to our Designer project. Once we're loaded in, currently only pipeline files from your repo will appear in the Files menu. The ability to see other files, such as the README and YAML files we have here, will be coming soon. Now let's add an orchestration pipeline. I'll make a quick change to the pipeline by adding a component to the canvas, just so that we can commit the change, which we will do now, and also add a note outlining the commit. Then we'll click commit, and we can see this has been successful, so now let's push this change to remote. Okay, so that's worked as well. We can see the local commits have been pushed to the remote branch. So let's now swap back over to our Azure DevOps repo. And refreshing, here we can see our new file that was just pushed has been added to the repo, which was our orchestration pipeline. And here it is. The orchestration pipeline called sample.org.yaml has been added. If we open up this file, we can see the DPL of the file. And also, if we click history, we can see the commit message, the commit hash, and the user who authored the commit. And there we go. We've successfully connected an Azure DevOps repo to a Data Productivity Cloud project. Full documentation for this process is available on our documentation site, which will be linked in the description. For more Data Productivity Cloud videos, please subscribe to the channel. And to get started with Matillion, visit matillion.com.